What are we going to start with?
What are we going to start with? I think
We should start with Teal. Quotes and Teal.
Quotes and Teal. What is Teal's agent thing called again? His
a Palantir?
Palantir, yeah.
All this stuff is named after Lord of the Rings bullshit.
Yeah. He's a fucking nerd.
Yep.
Like, Lord of the Rings stuff is always, like, just fucked, though. Like, because at the core of a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff is, like, a heaping load of racism. Like, I got pushback from this from, like, the Tolkien stands or whatever. But,
I guess so. It's fine.
Like Tolkien literally said that the dwarves and their love of jewels remind him of the Semitic peoples. So,
They're just... I never read I tried to read the books when I was young. They're really long.
And then,
just stop doing that. And the movies are also really long.
The men from the East as well are also just, like, in tattered rags and swarthy. And
I was watching the new Beatles documentary.
That's like Lord of the Rings.
It was also directed by Peter Jackson.
Oh, that's true.
And it's just really long. And I'm just like...
That's what he does. This
is just what he thinks Hobbits... This is just like 2 hours of Hobbits in the extended edition. Extended cut Beatles documentary. Yeah, that's what the Hobbits are like.
But like that was it. Like, I remember the Lord of the Rings movies being really long, and I'm like, okay, I kind of read the Lord of the Rings. It's like a weird rambling text from the 30s. It's like, it can be long. And then I saw his, like, King Kong movie that had, like, a 3-hour runtime and 4 different endings happening concurrently. Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is what Peter Jackson does. Just can't fucking self-edit.
Lord of the Rings, 2022, Lord of the Rings.
Come on. Give me something here. Rob's tired.
Yep. Hey, but I showed up.
You did, unlike the other two who are tired and didn't show up.
Yep. 2022, we're showing up, folks.
That's the slogan. 2022, we're showing up. We are present.
2022, attendance check.
Attendance check. Yeah, first podcast of 2022. 2 of the regular hosts are missing. It's the attendance year. Yeah, fucking good job. We're batting 100 over here.
All right, we're gonna talk about the news or some shit.
Yeah, we can talk about.
we haven't talked about the news in a while. I did miss the news a little bit.
Oh, you missed the news?
Yeah.
You missed all your friends.
When I was home, just people being like, just walking around my parents' living room, thinking to myself things like, "She squat my 400 pounds till I goofy," and then then I was on the bus to the airport, and I'd be like, "I wonder if there's a fishing tycoon who's recreated the world of Cars 2 in a post-industrial Estonian city." That's what I'm going to think about from now on.
You're just like improving Mega Recos. Like, what would Kieran say if he was here? What bullshit would he tell me about?
Yeah, elections in some country.
Yeah.
It's all coming 2022.
On the plane, you're just like in a notebook drawing your own like aggregated polling, just like lines going up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, red line party's not doing great. This blue line party. Oh.
That would be a great nerdy thing to do. When I was a kid, I made lots of charts of just ordered the states by like population and size and stuff, and just would write it down.
What?
Yeah.
I was watching Digimon. What the fuck are you like?
I think I would make maps too of cool
I make
worlds.
maps now.
I should have made opinion polls. That would be some real Europe mindset. But I hadn't been exposed to European culture in the way. And I think if there's anything I've learned in 2022, or did I learn in 2021? Bring it into 2022.
What did you learn in 2021?
That international exchange is a beautiful thing.
Oh, okay.
A beautiful, treasured thing. And it brings the best out in people.
Yeah, such as? You think you'd like Tucker Carlson hanging out in Hungary?
Sure. But I honestly think that the Germans are the chosen people.
Oh, okay, here we go.
They don't have the chosen land.
Oh.
And when they set foot in America,
yeah,
they find as the conquistadors search for the fountain of youth, certain Germans, when they get off the airplane in San Diego, and they see their first palm tree, they say, "Oh, they realize they found the fountain of swag.
They get to their knees and weep.
Yeah, and they just become the best version of themselves. But unfortunately for the world, because the world's in a bad place,
Yeah.
they can only use their powers for evil.
Oh yeah. And air travel is limited at the moment, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least they're having fun.
they're having a great time.
that's my
It's your opening
my
statement.
2 cents.
Yeah. This is what we're bringing into 2022 slogan, we're showing up, or whatever the fuck it was. Just the scene from Ferris Bueller. Just like
yeah. Honestly, that's the real radical thing, to show up and sit in class.
there.
You can fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's a substitute teacher. He's probably going to play Harry Potter or whatever they play in
We're going to play Harry
We
Potter.
watched a lot of Harry Potter movies in high school, man. They just
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
lazy-
Just
put it on.
The
That's
CRT
more,
TV.
That's more subversive, actually, than
we were in
than going on a twee romp through your city,
the Protestants.
through your host
were-
city from a little suburban kid.
Protestants were allowed to watch Harry Potter. We weren't.
Can we watch Elf again, even though it's March? Sure. You don't need to learn physics.
There's a lot of hungover teachers in your past, isn't there?
Yeah.
No, my favorite thing about like the watching movies in class thing is there were always movies that were longer than the period that you were in.
Oh, yeah. And I missed it, and I'm like, I don't want to watch the last 25 minutes of Contact in physics class. Can we learn something? No? All right.
No, it's always just like I cut off like an hour into the 90-minute movie, and it was like, well, I'm not going to watch the 30 minutes by myself in this age before on-demand streaming. So, welcome to Corner Späti. Hey. It's your weekly episode.
Yeah.
It's me, CIARÁN. I'm here with Rob, as you can probably guess.
Yep.
This
2022 Rob.
2022 Rob, which is different. He's taller. You can't see it at home, but he is taller.
Slower brain functioning.
He's going to be hungover.
My brain is pacing itself.
Yeah. This is your New Year's resolution, is to be hungover for every episode.
Honestly, it'd be kind of fun. That's what I'm saying. I think I made this pitch to Nick and Julia last night when they were in my apartment. Like, it'll be fun. We're all gonna be fucked up.
That is European culture. The French have wine with lunch, and we here in Berlin are just completely always hungover, never drunk. Yeah.
Yep.
Living the best life. No, I stayed at home and watched read X-Men comics.
Nice.
Yeah. They have their own nation state now. They're doing Mutant Israel. It's very weird.
Did you wait, like new ones?
Yeah, the new ones, yeah.
So you hadn't read them before? It's like
Well, they kind of
the latest
rebooted
stuff?
it in 2019, and I'm just catching up.
I didn't know that. How's the art? How's the art design?
It's fine. I mean, like the duopoly fucking comic books, I don't really go for the art.
What does that mean, duopoly?
The
Marvel
two companies
and
that like
DC?
run comics, basically.
Are those them?
Yeah, Marvel
okay,
and DC.
Nice.
Their art is always like very good, but not like never like, wow, that art. I don't know. Like, there's got to be like a film equivalent of like, yeah, that was like shot well, the color grading was fine, blah blah blah, but not in such a way that I'm like, wow, that cinematography was really great. It functions and delivers the story or whatever.
So Dune.
I don't know. I haven't seen Dune.
No, Dune was fine. I'm messing with you.
The cinematography of the like Marvel movies, I guess, are also like that. They're never like, wow, I was really impressed, but it was like, I sure watched a film.
No, I get motion sickness watching Marvel movies.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
Marvel movies are bullying Rob.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess our first piece of news on the agenda that we should talk about. Actually get around to doing this.
Right. Top story of 2022.
Actually, okay, so for people, a little peek behind the curtain. We haven't recorded an episode since like December 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to just do like a kind of episode where we catched up with all the substantial stuff that happened. Like the Egyptian billionaire that like basically owned Euronews has sold all his shares to like Viktor Orban's family. So
Oh, all right.
that's the thing that happened.
Sure.
Yeah, let's see what happens there. I being the only person who watches Euronews. I'm pretty sure.
Kieran was watching the Euronews New Year's Rockin' Eve last night, where
when there's a call-in
Orban's third favorite son-in-law got a little tipsy on the broadcast.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
He shared a few too many thoughts about about the Ottoman Empire.
I love this. Is what you think happens on Euronews? I'm here sitting being like, this is far too high budget for Euronews. They can't afford like a drunk Hungarian on their channel. That won't fly. Yeah, but like it's me and like hundreds of dentist offices watch Euronews. But okay, the big thing is Sebastian Kurz getting used to his private life, moving into better things, greener pastures.
He is so the latest I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, is he is moving to Silicon Valley. We don't know where, what city. He's living in San Francisco? He's
not moving to Oakland.
Is he gentrifying the Mission District? Is he having a nice suburban house in like Palo Alto? We don't know yet.
Californians to listen to the show. Knows what the
actually, is he? I think. So he's going to work for Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
The Peter Thiel, German, one of the trailblazers of Germans sucking the life force out of America to become more powerful than their fucking Kartoffel friends could ever imagine.
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate. I'll show you. I'm gonna go to America and
you won't let me do my eugenics business here. I'm gonna take it to the U.S.
So he's going to work as a global advisor, I believe, for Peter Thiel's Palantir company.
He's going to show Peter Thiel the Gylomobile.
The secret, I guess it's not that secretive, private security data analysis company.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they moved to L.A., though. I got to look that up.
Oh,
they're probably going to move to Texas like everyone else.
Palantir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I
think they're in L.A. actually. No.
Oh, all your guesses so far are wrong. Give me another like
San
overly
Diego.
gentrified bullshit city of America.
Not Austin,
but not Austin and not in California. You're gonna have one guess before I tell you.
I don't know. Detroit,
Denver,
Denver,
Colorado.
Really?
Yeah, that's where Palantir Technologies is.
Denver.
Yeah.
But
his
have to ruminate on that. Is Sebastian Kurz going to live in Denver?
His venture capital fund, Peter Thiel's venture capital fund, is based in San Francisco.
Okay.
So yeah,
interesting. So no word yet on where Kurz is going to live. Is he going to?
Well, this will be your number one source.
Yeah. We will follow this story to the very end.
Yeah.
I think that. So I don't know if he's actually going to stay there very long. I want to ask your opinion on this because you wrote quite eloquently about the modern day tithe that is paid to celebrities. I thought of you.
I should promote that article I wrote more.
Yeah. We'll put it in the description.
Okay.
A tithe that is paid to celebrities by tech companies that you somehow got bullied into having a subscription for.
Yeah.
Whether it's Netflix or the new one is Masterclass. The last 3 former presidents, other than Donald Trump, all now have a masterclass, including Hillary Clinton.
I know.
Yeah.
A masterclass in perseverance.
The last 4 real presidents.
Like at that point, you're just like paying. At that point, you're just paying €90 for like a Netflix mini documentary. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, prestige.
Yeah,
boutique documentary. Yeah, and that's the modern form of you paying your dues to your betters.
Yeah.
And this is a version of that for Sebastian Kurz. He goes to go to California, and it's not for popular consumption. It's more for like conservative power players, maybe, who are investing in things like Palantir, being like, "Oh, you got our good friend Sebastian. He was doing good work for us over there." And they don't know where Austria is on a map, but they're just bullshitting. They're like, "Yeah, over there in Europe."
Yeah, you see. You say this, but Rob, I want to cast your back to I would say early. I guess this would have been early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, when a certain disease was sweeping the nation of the UK, the United Kingdom, called Clegomania.
Oh.
Where
I
Nick...
thought you were going to say mad cow disease.
No, that was also there and might still be there and might explain everything about the British psyche currently is with the amount of fucking cannibalistic cow prions in their brain.
That's what ended the Roman Empire.
It's just like, seriously, we're just going to find out that their whole brain cavities is lead. But the Nick Clegg, leader of the Lib Dem party in the early 2000s, was real hot to trot. It was doing that like real Democrat politics thing where like moms in suburban towns would insist that this doughy man was hot, that kind of shit. And they were really like they got a huge portion of the vote. They ended up being kingmakers in the coalition government that would form. They sided with the Tories, and then they were destroyed for rising, fees and stuff like that. But Nick Clegg was the face of that. Cleggomania, as it was called.
It's my favorite Phoenix song.
And do you know what Nick Clegg's job is now? Sir Nicholas William Peter Clegg. You know what his current job is?
He is Alan Dershowitz's butler. I don't know.
Vice President for Global Affairs and Communications at Facebook.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
And has been since 2018.
Just a British accent will get you far in California.
So this is I should say he's now, Vice President of Global Affairs and Communications at Meta. But this is Kurtz's future. And also it makes sense. Like, Facebook is going to get some like middle of the road milquetoast liberal who, doesn't look like shit compared to everyone else in his field. Peter Thiel and Palantir is going to get a psychotic youth from the European milieu. This is like Kurtz is fucking twisted Nick Clegg. He is just like fucked up Nick Clegg.
He's gonna have so much fun at Burning Man next year.
Absolutely.
He's
gonna roll up at the fucking Gylo-mobile, and everyone's gonna be like,
a Gylo camp. They're gonna have their own camp.
Yeah. He's gonna everyone's gonna be like Google translating the fucking decal on the side in his van, being like, "Why does that van say black make horny?"
They're gonna, but okay. My question is, how long is this gonna last? Actually, because there have been rumors that he could be plotting. I don't know if I understand that it's a cushy gig for Prince Harry or whoever to go to California and just hang out with your new friends.
Yeah,
but Sebastian Kurz is pretty young, and I feel like he does have those ambitions.
Yeah,
and it's not like Austrian politics is like a stable situation. In 6 months, they could be clamoring for. Donald Trump's got to wait 4 years for his grand comeback. That may or may not happen. But Sebastian Kurz, a government could fail here, a little crisis there, and then he could fly directly from Burning Man. He could realize our oft-discussed dream of the European Trump, European Goa Trump, and he'll just go right back into power in Austria.
I do. That just reminded me of a great tweet I saw over the Christmas break. That was a European type of guy wondering why America doesn't call for a snap election. Why don't they simply?
Well, if I were you.
So I don't know. I think it might. Okay, so here's my just stupid. So this is the dumbest prediction. Therefore, I feel like it's the one most likely to happen, which is he's going to get his job in Palantir and he's going to use his influence and money with Peter Thiel's money, who now is bought up. What's her name? Who did the podcast with Virgil, Texas?
There were a few people. It was Brianna Joy Gray and Glenn Greenwald.
Yeah, Palantir's funding a bunch of supposedly left wing podcasts. So they funded
the hit Netflix movie Don't Look Up.
So he's going to use his money and connections to make it so there isn't an extradition treaty to Austria.
Mr. Peter Thiel, could you please finance American Eurovision for us? We will host the official podcast of Amerovision.
Yes, if that happens, yes. Are you kidding me?
We're gonna have the yodel singer with the chickens from Austria be the official California contestant.
We are the internet's only 100% straight Amerovision podcast. Yeah, but he's just going to campaign for there being no extradition treaty to Austria, as all these like weird corruption scam things come out.
I don't know. Who knows? It's the Iron Throne is a hot potato right now. I don't. That's a beautiful metaphor.
Third metaphor
that just came out of my head.
Like, I'm very tired, and I just said the Iron Throne's a hot potato.
It's not about the Iron Thrones that are hot potatoes. It's about the coups along the way. I don't know.
It's about, you miss 100% of the coups you don't take.
I think there's more in store for Herr Kurz.
I mean, I'm also thinking that, but I also feel like it's very hopeful thinking. I just like one of the most entertaining characters on this continent, and I was just like, it's
we're jealous. We just don't want to lose him.
Going to Game of Thrones.
I hate when our
reference.
Friends move away. Like, I thought we were gonna hang out in Berlin.
It's the Game of Thrones reference of just like, I can't believe my favorite character just got killed off. Like,
it's been COVID. We've barely been able to hang out.
Is this a real person? I think this is a real person.
I don't know. We'll see. Again, it depends. Who knows? Okay, it boils down to the question, which I feel like no one has the proper answer to. How much is being the prime minister of a smallish European country worth in our brave new world? Maybe it's better to be, Peter Thiel's right-hand man. Maybe that's maybe you're getting maybe you're better set up for our brave new future. But I'm not sure.
I think he's this is the new going into an arc that was always right for him, which is to become Bond villain. He's always had that slick back hair look, and but he's just too young for it.
Yep.
So now here he comes.
He's aging into it gracefully.
Yeah, okay, no, actually, no, hang on. Imagine Sebastian Kurz, but as one of those leathery tanned weirdos who are on Italian beaches and stuff like that. Just looking like that. Now you tell me that man doesn't own 3 nuclear submarines. That man owns 3 nuclear submarines. But he has to be 60 something first. He needs time to buy those nuclear submarines.
But regardless of the geopolitical machinations, there's also the possibility that he just has so much fun in the U.S.
Yeah.
Now, I'm an American who was just back for Christmas. Love my family, love my friends.
Yeah.
But I cannot stay in that godforsaken land for longer than for too long.
Yeah, but that's because you're in cold, shitty America. You need to be in sun America.
But I do think that Germans in particular, as I said, with the fountain of swag.
Oh yeah,
they just love it, and they're the only ones enjoying American culture. Everyone else is a miserable freelance journalist living in an overpriced apartment in Brooklyn, writing things about how Olivia Rodrigo is appropriating the experience of Tourette's people. They are miserable.
Yeah.
And the Germans. All right, we haven't even mentioned Lou Bega yet, but Lou Bega,
it's all connected.
Lou Bega is a Munich boy.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. And he literally said when he went to Miami, he just fell in love with music. And he just when he reached those golden shores, something sparked in him.
Yeah.
And the Germans are the only ones actually enjoying America.
I will never forget this moment. I think I tweeted about it, but when I found out Lou Bega was German, and then I told my wife, "Hey, did you know Lou Bega, the Mambo Number 5 guy, is German?" And she was like, I guess that makes sense because those are all the most German women's names possible.
Wait, what are the names? I don't remember.
A little bit of Tina, Monica. They're all just like really just stereotypical German names, German women's names.
A little bit of Hildegard by my side.
No. Like modern German women's names. Like I think Lisa is in there as
Lisa,
well. Which
sure.
every second German white woman in the city is called Lisa.
A little bit of Isa, a little bit of Isa, a little bit of Louisa, a little bit of Louisa. It's like how many? 14 more lines in the chorus.
This man's just listed women. Yeah, like okay, to something that like Nick has said before on this podcast that I think is kind of relevant to what you're talking about how like the only person he thinks that can really take the CDU into like a new direction is that they need a Jeremy Fragrance.
Sure, another man who is
been christened by America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like how when a Pokemon needs to hold the Fire Stone. It's like they go.
This Pokemon will only evolve by trading.
Yep,
You know, you have to trade it with America, and then it comes back as this like fragrance influencer on TikTok.
You know, I know NATO just set that up to make us buy both games, but you know, maybe it was maybe there's some good in it.
Yeah. But Sebastian Kurz is going to become a Jeremy Fragrance type character in America.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's possible. It's in the cards.
The stars are aligned, but whether it will happen or not, I don't know.
Which is the problem, because Jeremy Fragrance is a great example, because on a personal level, as from an American perspective, I look at him and I'm happy for that Kartoffel to just be living his best life. He seems so happy.
To him, not only hide his German name, but also his Polish name.
What is his real? Do you have Polish last name?
He has two. A German name and a Polish name.
But as my German side, or just, and especially when you hear him speak German, I'll just like, this fucking piece of shit all about this fucking douchey fucking asshole. Because in theory, this should be a beautiful thing to let one's, you know, to reach one's potential in life. But we live in a dark world.
Yes.
Where to reach your potential means to become evil.
Yeah.
And all these people can only fulfill their power. The only way they can use their newfound power is in evil ways.
Yeah. Does that lead us to Ciarán's pitch for season 2 of Corner Späti, which I'm just
we're only on
this.
Season 2.
We're only in, dude. It's long seasons. Like, this isn't your bullshit Netflix original series thing with 10 episodes. Nah, this is like a stupid reality TV show that they bought that has 25 episodes per season. Let's fucking go. Yeah,
200 episodes per season.
Look, the best TV always has that. The best TV never ends.
It's like, I can't watch TV.
This is why I can only watch TV and not watch movies. This is the last time we recorded was like December 10th, and the cold open on that episode that was just last week for the listeners was us discussing the Polish concert that was held by the Ministry of Justice and held for the Polish troops, right? That was going to have,
I believe, a coalition of different European troops, because they had different flags on their. I believe so.
Yeah. But like,
mostly
they're all
Polish,
under the command of the Polish.
Because like the UK sent like 100 troops.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, this is not. This is
Brexit. The real unifying factor of Europe.
Yeah, this is. But like Brexit doesn't include sending troops to the Polish border.
No, of course, there's a racism exception.
They fought. Boris tried to do full Brexit, but the fucking tricky EU diplomats in Brussels included that racism exception.
No, they knew the one thing he couldn't resist. They got a French negotiator in there, and he was like, what's about the racism? You want to do the racism? And Boris was like, well, yes, we do. They'll go to war over fishing rights, but yeah, so they held this concert in support of the troops who were defending not something like real or serious, defending the Polish-Belarusian border from like the stupid situation of Belarus supposedly weaponizing migrants, which for anyone who has like a brain for 2 seconds would realize, well, it's only weaponized because you hate the migrants.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't hate the migrants, Lukashenko doesn't win.
Yeah.
And like, if you haven't been hearing about that in the news lately, it's because it has like petered out. Lukashenko said that he would repatriate the like the Syrian and Afghan people in his borders back to like Syria and Afghanistan respectively. Blah blah blah. However, there are some people in limbo who, when he agreed to do that, were on the Polish side of the border. The Polish authorities don't want to acknowledge they exist. The Belarusians are like, we're not taking them back. So now they're just kind of like, freezing in eastern Poland, basically. It's a dark situation.
Isn't that what that show Squid Game was about?
Pretty much.
When you win, you're just like freezing in Poland.
So resulting in this situation, but like naturally the response to this by society, government, various institutions is to hold like a Europop concert with Munich boy Lou Bega. Last Ketchup pulled out due to backlash by the average Spaniard being like, this is a terrible thing to do, don't do it. I found out when we last recorded this, it had only been announced. Since then, it has actually happened, and there was recordings and whatnot. Found out since that, like, schools in like eastern Poland were like commandeered so that they could watch so the troops could watch the performance on like a TV that was rolled in because the teacher was too hungover that day, kind of shit. And like at the same time, I've also found out that members of Ace of Base, the neo-Nazi band, showed up and gave performances and speeches.
They were doing like a Mishima style. They were telling the troops to reclaim what's rightfully theirs, to defend the sovereign, to defend glorious Europe.
Just singing, all that she wants, and then like all the pictures are of like Syrians and stuff. It's ridiculously. So the thing I'm pitching about like the Dark Lou Bega arc is this horrific and dark rightward shift of just open xenophobia. Like I genuinely feel like when we started this podcast, there would have been tact not to do this. Like they would have just been like, this is a little bit much. We can't do this. This is stupid. We can't get the Mambo number 5 guy up there to like sing to a bunch of people who are going to attack like, families. But now they are, and now we just have like this insane hawkishness, particularly towards Russia, because as we mentioned in this podcast, and as we can talk about a little bit more, Europe doesn't care about China and isn't really like buying into this whole China is our enemy thing. But Russia still is. So yeah, that's kind of the pitch. And also France's election year is also resulting in like a very both hawkish and European Macron and like French political atmosphere as well. Well,
that might come off as kind of pessimistic, that
it's gonna be weird.
Where power is accumulated in this world is being used with less and less, or more and more discretion, less and less counter forces being able to check.
Yeah.
What powerful people can kind of do on a whim. But thankfully, the always existing negative side of the dialectic, the force, the revolutionary current in the world is articulating itself clearly. It's aware. It's a left-wing communist movement. It's not at all a confused miasma of conspiracy and fear and just absolute like harrowing darkness that you're all alone in this world. And
it's not that.
It's very clearly organized, and people are all in it together and are aware of the dynamics.
Rob's coming down in a bad way right now.
I'm just saying it's good. It's a good thing that we have.
Anyone gonna bump Rob?
I'm saying it's good. It's good that that's the resistance that we're all we all got to figure it out. It's Dark Lou Bega Arc.
Dark Lou Bega Arc. Season 2. Lou Bega heel turn. It's just maddening that this is the face of all of this. That, like, whether he likes it or not, which, as far as I can tell, he's largely indifferent to the whole thing. Lou Bega.
Yeah, he's just selling. He has a new album. He has a new album called like you know, the Crooner Season 7. His 42nd studio album,
singing the Christmas hits.
Yeah, he's doing he has an album just for the second Advent, a whole album of songs just for second Advent, like, because that's a untapped market, and he's just trying to promote it.
I mean, it's just like, okay, so I guess what I'm trying to pitch to you, Rob, as an American, is imagine if the face of like the Iraq War was like Michael Bublé.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful, is it?
Yeah.
Because like the stuff happening in like Ukraine and Russia at the moment. Because this is you were saying to me before we recorded that like basically during the Christmas break, both Americans and Europeans were just asking you like, so are we going to war with Russia?
Yeah, I was like, am I supposed to? Was this on the test? Was I supposed to learn about this? I was like, I mean, they're always talking some shit. I don't know. Whatever Nick and Yulia told me last. No, but everyone was like, oh, yeah, World War III is about to happen. That's what I was going to say Chris Cuomo, but that's what Don Lemon was telling me on the TV. Do you know anything about this? I was like, I don't think so. I don't know why everyone's talking about this. Do you want to talk about the I don't know, the elections in the Czech Republic instead?
Yeah, no love about that.
Do you want to talk about I don't know. Do you want to talk about protests in the Netherlands? No, Russia. Okay, don't have much on that, but
because in general, I think there's probably a lot more like pertinent shit happening. There's a lot more pertinent shit happening in the world, and a lot of this is also getting like obfuscated. Like, so like the other thing that was like irking me about this is like dominating the news was I don't know if you saw, but like Memorial, that like NGO in Russia being like closed down. That was like all over France 24, Euro News, like DW as well, like Deutsche Welle.
Kieran's favorite smart TV channel.
The hits, yeah. Like,
you're just playing on a loop. Kieran actually has 7 smart TVs.
I have split screen set up, and they're like, you can't do this unless it's sports. And I'm like, it looks like baby, I can.
Kieran's living room is like a Buffalo Wild Wings, like a typical sports bar, but it's just
it's all tuned to various
It's like Hooters, and then all the waitresses are just like steampunk girls walking around.
Hang on. I'm not into steampunk shit. Get out of that. Steampunk, like, okay, we were talking about hentai earlier, but steampunk is genuinely for perverts. I'm coming out hard on steampunk here. Hard against steampunk.
Taking note. No steampunk.
Just putting that in the notebook. But no, like, okay, yeah. So the media arm of NATO was basically saying, like, talking big about like, oh, Memorial was shut down, blah blah blah, and like the conversation on Twitter that day was just like demanding that I have like an opinion or a take on it. I was like, I don't care about NGOs. They don't do anything.
No, come on, dude.
Yeah.
NGO, it's kind of hypocritical that you say Black Lives Matter, but NGO lives matter.
Oh yeah, they're all dead.
I'm getting a job. I'm getting a job for the boycott Beijing Olympics 2022. They're paying me so much money to say things like that.
Yeah, to say
all ratio me all you want. That's more money. I get paid per reply.
Per quote tweet.
I get paid extra for quote tweets.
Oh man,
1.25.
That's overtime.
Time and a half.
But like it's like this. I can't care about it because it's also like, well, what the fuck do you want us to do? Like I'm in such a situation where I have fucking no sway over what happens internally in Russia. The average Russian does not have sway over what happens in Russia. And all of this exists to be like, oh, you should talk to your MP or your TD or whatever, the Bundestag, to like, we need to put more pressure on Russia. It's like, I'm pretty sure we put the like maximum amount of pressure beyond like nuking Sevastopol or something like that.
Yeah. I was feeling a little uneasy, and then I watched Chancellor Olaf Scholz's New Year's address, And I thought to myself, this man can tame the Asiatic beast.
He can take the unruly Slav. God damn it. Yeah, because like at the same time, there's a bunch of NATO alliance forces are being like pushed into Romania and Bulgaria as well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
I don't. Why do you care?
It's called the Enhanced Forward Presence Program.
Yeah.
Just fucking 1984 ass title. Yeah.
Is that actually the name? The Enhanced what?
Enhanced Forward Presence.
Enhanced Forward Presence.
Like, dude, when I'm having trouble getting it up, I use that. Like, what the fuck is that?
Wow, Enhanced Forward Presence. That's what
that's putting NATO troops into Romania and Bulgaria.
Is that what pickup artists have rebranded as?
Yeah.
I'm not harassing you. I'm not harassing you. This is Enhanced Forward Presence.
We're really trying to make pickup artistry woke now. You know the thing that says that women aren't capable of their own rational thought? Yeah, we're making that woke now. God fucking damn it. But yeah.
Yeah, at least we're here. 2022. We showed up.
We showed that's what we
2022 where we have presence. It might be enhanced. I don't know if it's enhanced or forward, but
we're here to
we're present.
Yeah. Look, we're here and so is a bunch of new NATO troops on the eastern flank. David Ignatius was writing opinion pieces in the Washington Post about how they're constructing a Ukrainian stay-behind army in Ukraine.
Nice. Are they supposed to talk about that? I thought that's...
I think they're meant to talk about that.
People used to have a little discretion, all right? People used to...
No, but now we get Lou Bega on stage to talk about it.
Lou Bega shouting out the Stay Behind Network.
Yeah, that's what that's what that's all the people, like all the women he's named. Those are actually code names for...
Codename Monica.
Code name... I need if we're gonna keep doing this reference, I need to bring up the lyrics. But yeah, it's like, and then the same time, like we're getting into this weird sense of like the Greens are in government, like really trying to undo like any kind of appeasement diplomacy that Germany has done with Russia.
Sure,
which not great, and we know what the German Greens do when they want to be responsible.
Yep,
they invade somewhere.
Well, you know what they say: only Nixon could go to China, and only
Lou Bega can go to Sevastopol.
Only a pog, a thought, a nasty hoe like Frau Baerbock could tame the Asiatic beast. Olaf, you can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, it's not.
Baerbock is not
Elena's. It's not Elena's turn.
Baerbock is not one of the names mentioned in Lou Bega's Mamba number 5.
That's true. That's true. It would be a good name. That's a good. Well, it's too German. They gotta ride. They gotta ride the. It was a
fine line. Because I'm just gonna give you the names now. Monica.
Please. All right, Monica.
Erica.
Okay.
Rita. Yeah, getting a nod there. That's a very German. Yeah. Tina.
Tina, very German.
Yeah. Sandra.
Okay. Yep.
Sandra.
Yep.
Mary and Jessica.
I don't know any Jessicas.
Yeah. I feel like that was the last one mentioned, so I feel like it was like, oh fuck, I need to need to not make this so obviously German.
Yeah, Lou Bega had a very intense 2-week relationship with a Jessica from
Miami.
from Michigan while he was in Miami.
The exotic
added her into the song.
I was the pulsating Latin rhythms of Michigan. Yeah. So we have this. Okay, so this is one aspect of the Dark Lou Bega arc, which is this hawkishness towards Russia, but also I feel like a very uniquely European hawkishness, because then we get into the whole and the face of this being Macron, not buying America's bullshit on China a little bit, which is it's become clearer now that only the USA, Australia, UK, and Canada are going to be boycotting the Beijing Winter Olympics. And
which seems crazy to me. Are they really going to go through with that? Well, the last Olympics boycott was in the 80s?
The Soviet one. Yeah, over the invasion of Afghanistan, right?
When we're talking Cold War, that's big. It's a big
like,
standard to reach. I don't know. I just feel like they might back out.
First is tragedy, second is farce. Welcome to the farce fucking Olympic boycott. Where like France has basically successfully curtailed the rest of Europe not to boycott. And he says there's going to be its own European response, which is probably just going to manifest as like a sternly worded letter, please, more Belt and Road, thank you. Like, yeah. So we're getting into this kind of situation. He's also talking like with Olaf Scholz about how Europe needs to spend more. He's saying like Europe needs to have its like own presence in the world and on the stage and all this kind of rhetoric, which can be like just it's an election year in France and he just needs to say this shit. But also within every French person, especially French politician, lurks the de Gaulleist,
which in a certain way I respect. In the sense, it's like it's a certain level of discipline where Macron is like, no, I'm not going to. I could go to California and run. I would be CEO of Netflix in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but he's like, no. We have untapped potential within us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. Let the Kurtzes of the world go off to fucking Denver.
He is spitting on Kurtz's image. He said, you disgust me.
Yeah.
How dare you?
For naturally, in the Frenchman's mind, in an elevated Frenchman's mind, Austria should take its rightful place as the vassal state of France.
I will take your wife as a new Marie Antoinette. do not cross me.
Yeah, so we're getting like the return of de Gaulleism.
Sure, like, why not? Why not? First is tragedy. Second is farce. What the fuck? Looking the new de Gaulle is just.
I'm looking forward to like. The CIA be leaving its own bullshit and then for years trying to give Macron Havana syndrome.
It's like it's a reboot of Carlos the Jackal, but he just has a giant Havana syndrome gun. It's like, he's just following Macron around, just trying to get the right sight lines in Paris.
Guns just made of like it's like it's like a secondary school play prop. It's like made of gray paper. So that's that's kind of like my pitch for like Dark Lou Bega Arc is just like the absurdist face of like a rightward shift. Because the other thing happening in France as well, I should mention, is that like since we last talked about France, Perez is like really like is continuously performing well in the polls. And I did see a great headline that I feel like sums up my whole opinion on the French election is like at this point, no matter who wins, France is having a rightward shift. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Zemmour, Pécresse, or Macron like wins re-election. It's a rightward shift, and that's like the same all over Europe. Like, there's the supposedly like social democracy revitalization, where there's like more center-left governments in Europe. Like this is like Europe elects brain, where they count like Germany as this.
Oh yeah,
and like there's rising like the Social Democratic Party of like Lithuania is also doing really well, and they're like counted in this as, but it's all like farcical center left parties that are no longer in any way social democratic.
That was the second most common. Oh, there's a dog at the door. There's the second most common question I got, which is like, oh, you have a new left chancellor in Germany, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, not really. And then they're like, well, he's better than the alternative. And I was just like, I could feel the conversation going this America brained routine of like, it's like saying Hillary's like, well, better than the alternative. And I was just like, I want to aussteigen. I know I make fun of that, but I want to walk off. I want to walk out of this room like Don Draper.
I don't think of you at all.
go on a bender.
Well, like, that's like better than the alternative. It was like, actually, no. For the most of the election, he was trying to convince us he was the exact same as the alternative.
Yeah, exactly. I do not want to engage with this. I feel your hook getting into me, and that's the thing. So
I've gone through this NPC like text tree before. Like, I forgot to save while playing this visual novel, and now I'm just doing the same text over and over.
Did we talk about le wokeism, or did you?
No, we haven't. I think we can. We're at 50 minutes here. I think we can end it on that.
Ooh, because flying.
Because another thing about the Dark Lou Bega arc is This is also the year of France, at least up until like March when we stop caring. After the election happens.
Wait, March before the election happens? Did you mean May?
Is the election in May? I think it's in March.
No, the election's in April.
I'm looking up. I don't know. Presidential election, because they also have their stupid parliamentary election as well this year. It happens later.
I just thought it was funny. We were just gonna like cram for the French election, and then before it even happens, we're like, I'm kind of done with that.
Yeah, fuck it.
Got kind of tired. All right, the first round is the presidential election is April 10th.
Yeah.
Runoff April 24th.
Okay, all right. I sound corrected. April. Then we stop caring.
On April 25th, when we wake up in our Airbnb or a friend's apartment or wherever we're staying
in Paris. Yeah.
CIARÁN in Paris. It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be great.
I'm going to be there with a documentary crew.
It's going to be, I have so many thoughts about Emily in Paris. We're going to have our own episode on this. It's a dark show.
Okay, so wokeism. What?
Le wokeisme.
Excuse me. I know I'm doing wokeism by calling it wokeism.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although we get into an interesting philosophical debate there, because it's almost.
Do we?
Is it wokeism? Is it still? Is it only wokeism if you call it le wokeism? Because it's like their like fixation is their own kind of wokeism. Like they're woke about le wokeism.
I hate this conversation. It's so obvious you're hungover. I hate this. So, like, I think we have to call it le wokisme or whatever it is. Sans français. Because this is just like a uniquely French project.
Yeah.
You may think you know about the wokeisms, or you've read your Der Spiegel article about Boko Haram or whatever the fuck. But this is something new. This is the anti-woke think tank of France.
Cool.
Which leads into just like the fuck's going on in France kind of conversation.
What's it called? It has like a ridiculous name. I believe it's the Laboratory of Europe.
Oh, is it? No.
Yeah.
It's the Lou Bega Institute.
Let me pull that up.
It's
so it's set up by the education minister.
Set up by the education minister of
is Laboratory of the Republic.
There you go.
Which is some real. So that's the thing with this.
They love talking about the Republic.
They love fucking talking about the Republic. And on the one hand, I get it. If I were French, I'd probably be a fucking.
It's the only thing you've ever done.
I'd be a fucking Trotskyist if I was French, dude. I'd be like, this unfinished project of the revolution. We're gonna fucking complete it. It's a dialectical process.
There's only two ways.
Have you ever heard of Babeuf? With their untapped potentials within our revolutionary project. Yeah. I know it's been on hold for counting here 200 something years.
200 and something
but
years.
It's incomplete.
We got this.
Have the keys to finish it.
It's like people waiting for Half-Life 3. It's gonna happen any day, man.
It's coming. Yeah,
it's coming. Yeah. That's the only way to live a sane existence in France.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's either you become a French Trotskyist and you like hope that the French Revolution gets finished, or you become like a hype beast in Marseille.
Yeah.
Those are the only two existences you can have.
I'm creating a third one, which is I'm creating a new. I know there's already like several splinter left parties, but I'm creating another left party, which is Le Wokisme Insoumis. You won't stop us. So
I'm literally American. And I'm running in French politics. You cannot stop me.
That would be a hilarious, because like some of them, like much respect to them, like the postal worker. I think they have a different the new anti-capitalist party. I think it's not that postal worker guy running again, or maybe it is. But like they get 2% or whatever. I would love to be like I'm an asshole American running on the woke platform, and I get like 1% in Paris. I get votes from like retirees in Bordeaux.
And somehow like sweep the parliamentary elections. Or, like, you pick up a few mayors.
Sure. I would love I'd love to be mayor of like a small town in like a wine region of France. Like a Clint Eastwood style. Clint Eastwood was mayor of some bullshit California town full of rich people. What? Yeah, I would be that. I would be the Clint Eastwood of
like a glorified homeowners association.
Yeah. Like he ran on like being I might be messing this up, but I'm pretty sure he like ran on being like against like wheelchair ramps or some bullshit. Like we don't want.
That seems like I should star in more movies that allow me to say slurs. It's like the Clint Eastwood platform. God damn it! Yeah. So this new think tank, the anti-woke think tank, And woke specifically means something in France, which is basically being against criticism of France if you use English terminology. I was like, that seems like the bare bones of it. Because the education minister is literally talking like the reason he decided to make this think tank. He's quoted as saying like, I saw graffiti in a college campus that included the term TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist, and it was like, that is not French. If he had said the like French direct translation of trans exclusionary radical feminist, that would apparently been fine.
Sure,
but
sure,
like,
why not?
This is where I take my stand.
All right, check this out.
Yeah.
That sucks, but if they went whole hog, if they committed, because the French government, we haven't really talked about it on the show, but like, is there some weird like new like tripolar world? They want to set up a new French sphere of influence.
Gaullism, yes.
Yeah, we're fucking doing it. If they believed in domino theory, but for wokeism, like if they, instead of Vietnam, if they sent troops into Oberlin College,
they're doing like Operation Condor in West Africa.
The French sent troops into honestly Berlin.
Yeah,
President Macron. God Emperor, if you're listening to this, we need the sons and daughters of the Republic to come in and defend Berlin from the scourge, the fucking mass of White Walkers of Americans in Berlin doing wokeism.
No, because it would just result in everyone just like being shot for stating their pronouns. Like, that's what it's going to become.
I just, if you're gonna do it, you might as well commit. Is all I'm saying.
Where's your like?
It's Dark Lou Bega Arc.
Yeah,
I'm just showing up.
Like, the Washington Post is saying there's like a stay behind Operation Ukraine. Where's your like stay behind in Berkeley?
Yeah, we need a French stay behind.
French stay behind in Berkeley. Je suis normal Californian girl.
But the French stay behind in Berkeley would just like they would just complain on Tucker Carlson about how like the DA isn't prosecuting shoplifting anymore. Like it's because of wokeism.
It's like, I'm here with regular American citizen Jean-Pierre Garteau.
Tucker Carlson with just that confused look on his face. No, but the wokeism, I feel like, all right, all jokes aside, it feels like bullshit. Because as I was mentioning before, it's the flip side of the same thing. Like, you hate wokeism, meaning it becomes that you're more woke about wokeism than the other people. And it just feels like everyone, like a lot of times in these articles, like there's the obligatory, whether it's the BBC or whatever articles reporting, and it's like, France has a culture of colorblindness according to the Republican values of the blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Like, it's the same thing every time. And I mean, it's true to some degree. That is the official narrative. That's a big part of French history and culture. But official narratives, political narratives, cultural forces are more and more hollow in general across the world. Like, voter turnout's decreasing in France. Like, this project, whether it's wokeism or not wokeism or whatever bullshit it is, more and more people are just not even engaging in the project. Like, all right, you're fighting over the, like, what is the rhetoric of the French, of the professional political movement of the French nation. And that's just like that's just like a shrinking pie that you're fighting over, right? Like, there's absolutely some degrees to which like wokeism, whatever, is like the new language of the new phase of capitalism, in the same way that the student movements of the 60s inaugurated the neoliberalism. Yeah. Absolutely elements of that. But when you point that out, you have to also acknowledge, like, if you turn that into like, this is the greatest danger, taking things over, you're falling for your own trap, or you're getting high on your own supply, huffing your own farts. I don't know the right analogy, because it's like, no, the point is that this is like a shrinking pie of things that people care about. And the, like, again, the force which is undermining all of this isn't some articulate left-wing alternative. It's just like bizarre nonsense of like just conspiracy theories and whatever. And it's not like, if you take one side on the wokeism or not wokeism, it's you're getting bogged down in this like professional class discussion and management or crafting of what professional politics is. But
I don't know, I think it's like, so the way I kind of like first reacted to it was just like a lot of like Macron's tricks getting very old or like transparent. Like I agree with you that this is becoming just like more farcical and you're fighting over like scraps at this point, but it was very like far gone is the like era of us thinking of Macron as this like massive liberal savior, and like now it's just getting even more transparent of just like, right, remember this like popular movement, like because one of the things they were like opposing is Black Lives Matter. Remember this thing that was like one of the closest things there has been to a popular revolution in the United States in like in a very long period of time.
An insurrection.
We're opposing that, but for like cool liberal reasons, which is that we're colorblind here in France, and we like it's literally just like an entire country trying to claim that they don't see race. And then it's complete bullshit. Like every activist on the ground in France knows that's complete bullshit. Whenever a private organization, because it has to be a private organization, like measures like the impacts of like tragedies or French society or French laws on like ethnic and sexual minorities, it's just like, oh, they're being like persecuted as fuck. Like this like French colorblindness doesn't work. And like you're right, there is like there's a narrative component to this, but there is actually also like a material thing, which is a French law is not allowed basically acknowledge subdivisions of the French people,
right?
Which means that like you can't. What's the American thing of just like, what's that program that gets like minorities into college?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action, yeah. You can't do that. Like you can't like, we can talk about how useless that effectively is, or like whether we even want the goals of that or whatever, but like you can't even do that in France. Everything has to be universal, and they don't acknowledge that. I don't know, there was massacres of Algerians by the police in the 60s. Like starting from like a lot of people in France are starting from a very bad position, and the subdivision doesn't work. And like it's farcical. One of the examples I was telling you about before we recorded is the like whole anti like veil head covering law they have in France, which is like, oh no, it's universal, applies to everyone. If you're wearing like a blacked out motorcycle helmet, this also applies to you. And then like cue footage of like police tackling a middle-aged Algerian woman to the ground, and like a guy in the blacked out motorcycle helmet just walked past, be asked politely to remove, and he's like, oh sorry, yeah, sure.
A guy walking by in a full Ent costume from the Lord of the Rings convention. They're like, sir, there's no face coverings. And he's like, it's to the convention center is 3 blocks away. And they're like, all right, yeah, okay. go right ahead.
French police.
Canadian French
okay, there, bud.
I'm sorry, I can't do accents. Is it Quebecois?
Oh my god. But like, yeah, it's a whole lot of bullshit.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the question, like, all completely true, everything you said.
Yeah.
And it's like, to what degree are those things rooted in any kind of political, in the sense of electoral politics, in the sense of political, constrained in what we think of as politics? Is there any circuitry between these two things, right? Can there be a popular movement which, reverses the laws on banning hijabs or something? Like, what's there? And that's an open question, and
something.
It's there's something. I mean, yeah, it's everyone's aware. Self-reflective people are aware of the limitations of like, oh, this is the American concept, but like it's still there's still similar dynamics between France and the United States, as we all live under capitalism. France is colonial power and all these things, and people are perfectly capable of sorting through those contradictions and working on them, but the ruling narrative is very happy with pointing it out, dusting off their hands, and then being like, well, guess there's nothing you can do. They are not showing up, but we're showing up. I'm just showing up.
We're present.
We're present. I'm here.
Here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
in Ireland we had to say ansha. We had to say here Oscuelga in Irish.
You have to what?
When they did roll call in Ireland, you have to say here in Irish. Ansha. Ansha. Yeah.
All right, ansha. That's there's something poetic in that. We're saying we're here in Irish.
We're decolonizing.
Being present. It's true. They're trying to colonize being present. We're decolonizing.
Yeah. There's a Ukrainian stay behind operation now, but we're also here. We're
That's
podcasting about
That's
it.
all you can ask for. The political narratives are torn to shreds. We can't even talk. People are talking all sorts of bullshit. All you can ask is to just be there.
Yeah.
Just show up. We're here. We're looking around.
All we can do is record a podcast and say that we hope Lewokism, like, I don't know, pants Macron or gives him a swirly or whatever you think is going to happen.
We hope to the intra-ruling class battle between Macron and Lewokism reveals some rifts that we might be able to take advantage of.
Just like throw a crowbar
otherwise,
into it.
my wokeism is not your wokeism. So I'm woke about all sorts of things that Macron has never even heard of.
Like, this is just what, like, I burst out laughing about the whole, like, Zemmour complaining about people not using the subjunctive.
Oh, yeah. It's just, yeah, exactly.
It's that, because they're literally complaining about, like, the possibility of a gender-neutral pronoun in French.
Not using the subjunctive is woke. Yeah, that's wokeism. Sure. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Grammar Nazi police. Grammar secret police.
Yep.
Now that's something.
So, in short, despite what the people of Ukraine and Russia think, we are going to war.
The war, some would say, has been going on all around us all this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's a brave new world.
The missiles are heading to the small Ukrainian town of Klandathu. So it's all good. It's all going to happen.
Yep. We're gonna the forces of swag of being of Osha. How do I say it? Being
Ansha.
Here. Ansha. Fuck. Ansha sounds like another Irish '90s singer that I just didn't hear about. It was really popular in Europe. Just didn't really make it over to the US.
Do you know how Enya's actually spelled?
No, that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, forces of swag, of Ansha, of Aussteigen, of just we're just we're gonna figure it out.
Everything we talked about this episode, we promise by the end of the year we'll listen back and we'll come up with some solutions.
New Year's resolution: the forces, the contradictions of capitalism in Europe are just going to become so farcical that you don't even have to have your own reply to its farce. You can just you got your own presence, baby. Exactly.
So just the Corner Späti New Year's resolution, we're going to ease tensions between NATO and Russia. We are going to make a genuinely inclusive France and stop it from becoming fascist.
Yep. Sixth Republic on our way.
Very likely.
Well, that's the thing, right? So the Sixth Republic is the following in the dream of just like, all right, this time, six times the charm.
We got this. Just like just like when you when you're meant to be swapping turns with your brother on the PlayStation 1, but you just keep hitting the reset button on and be like, no, that wasn't my turn. That wasn't really my turn.
Yeah. It might not be a republic. It might be it might be
the king's back.
Deterritorialized swag. It might be
turn France into a giant DMZ.
We don't know, but whatever it is, we'll be here for it.
Yeah. And on a sincere note, this is us entering into our third year of the podcast.
Yep.
And thank you so much for everyone who supported us, despite like all the fuck ups in schedule and Corona making this kind of a weird time.
Yeah.
We're here to let you know that we're still your number one European podcast in English. And we're only secretly funded by the Austro-Hungarian Empire. We're going to start selling that like double-headed eagle children's book that one posting Habsburg made. I'm going to give that out. I think he might sue us if we gave that as like a Patreon reward if we just like bought that from people.
Come on. If we got sued by Habsburg, that'd be pretty funny.
That would, that's our publicity stunt. We're getting sued by the Habsburgs.
Yeah, I can't. My brain is too slow to say anything sincere, but
thanks for supporting us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening.
It's been wonderful.
We'll do more. We'll do more Cyberpunk. We'll do more of the nice things you like. We'll start streaming properly again. And I love you. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to end with that.
I'm going to be
What are you going to
do? All right. Bye.
Ciao. Rob is faded.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody in the car, so come on, let's ride to the liquor store around the corner. The boys say they want some gin and juice, but I really don't wanna be a buzz like I had last week. I must stay deep, cause talk is cheap. I like Angela, Pamela, Sandra, and Rita. And as I continue, you know they're getting sweeter. So what can I do? I really bag you, my lord. To me, flirting is just like a sport. Anything fly, it's all good. Let me jump in, please sing in the trumpet. A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side, a little bit of Rita's all I need, a little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of Sandra in the sun, a little bit of Mary all night long, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man. Mambo number 5. Jump up and down and move it all around. Shake your hand to the sound, put your hands on the ground. Take one step left and one step right. One to the front and one to the side. Clap your hands once and clap your hands twice. And if it looks like this, then you're doing it. A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side, a little bit of Rita's all I need, a little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of Sandra in the sun, a little bit of Mary all night long, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man. The trumpet. Mambo number 5. A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side, a little bit of Rita's all I need, a little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of Sandra in the sun, a little bit of Mary all night long, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man. I do all to fall in love with a girl like you, 'cause you can't run, you can't hide, you and me gonna touch the sky. Mambo number 5.